There's a lot of agents in the world, and it's really important to learn how to build yours and how you want to set up your agent and how that's kind of how you move your workflow forward as well. So first of all, what is an agent? There's 5 really important things that you need to really build your agent. You would want your model, which is like the LLM that goes into the brain behind every decision it makes and everything it does. The data, so this is like your own life, your context, whatever, your business context, the information it has to work with. And then the memory of its own life, its own behaviors, what you like, what you don't like, your tools. And then the hardware is the last one, which is, do you want it to run on a Mac Mini, or do you want it to run on do you want to run on the cloud, or do you want to run on a VPS? I guess today I just wanted to talk about how to build your agent. There's a lot of agents in the world, and it's really important to learn how to build yours and how you want to set up your agent and how that's kind of how you move your workflow forward as well. So first of all, what is an agent? So like, yeah, there's chatbots, like Siri, old ChatGPT. There's copilots like Claude now, the website, there's ChatGPT, and agents, which are kind of like Claude Code, Openclaw, Hermes, Codex. Now there's Open Code as well. There's a bunch of these different types of harnesses that you can use. So now how do you build your agent? And there's 5 really important things that you need to really build your agent. You would want your model, which is like the LLM that goes into the brain behind every decision it makes and everything it does. The data, so this is like your own life, your context, whatever, your business context, the information it has to work with. And then the memory of its own life, its own behaviors, what you like, what you don't like, your tools. And then the hardware is the last one, which is, do you want it to run on a Mac Mini, or do you want it to run on do you want to run on the cloud, or do you want to run on a VPS? There's a bunch of these options, and each one has pros and cons. So yeah, I guess I'll start with a model because there's a bunch of different models. And yeah, I guess starting with Anthropic, Opus is the best model without a doubt. But every other model kind of sucks, or not sucks. It's like a race for second is the best way to put it. And this is including OpenAI, and this is including Minimax, Kimi, Qwen, GLM. And even today, I think, what was it? Google came out with the Gemma 4, which was an LLM you can run on your Mac Mini now. That should be good enough to run an Openclaw agent in their words, but we'll find out.
Quick
But
question
yeah,
about
like,
Anthropic. Can you tell us a little bit more about that leak that happened? Because I was trying to do a little bit of research on what actually happened where they leaked the code. So what does that mean when they leaked the code?
yeah. So the harness for Claude Code, so it's not the model, it's the harness. So how it makes all the, like its access to all the tools, how it makes its decisions and all of that. Its architecture was leaked. So how Anthropic would actually go about and build it and all of that. It's not really like a leak. It's more like they just apparently they put it in the wrong place, and it was just a file that was out in public. So that it's a normal dev thing, but it happened to them as well and Claude. But yeah, it's not really. It's the architecture that you can put behind it, and now it helps other people build harnesses as well. So now, if you start looking on GitHub, you'll find thousands of Claude Code remakes of different people doing it in their own iteration. And now that's possible because, like, now you have a blueprint of, oh, this is what you actually need. And now you can do it too. Now you can take that exact blueprint and go to Claude Code itself and just say, hey, can you do this to your Claude Code? So that's
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. But I guess Anthropic is coming out with Mythos, which is apparently a tier above Opus and 20% above everything. When that comes out in 2 weeks, we'll find out. So yeah, the other part of this is the data. So this is what your agent needs to know before the conversation even starts. This includes your files, your procedures, your proposals, past work, contacts, their relationship and the relationship to you, businesses, your calendar, like when you're available, how you communicate, who to communicate to, what the work to do, your projects. So like what's actually going on in your day to day, what stage are you at, what are the goals, and then domain knowledge, which is like the industry, product knowledge, and company info. And you also have your skills here as well, which is like what's the output you want. And then you have memory. So you have short term, long term. Oh, I guess you can put skills here too, procedural, but procedural is skills. But you have short term memory, which is like actively in the session, you're talking to the agent. This is usually pretty good with every model. Long term memory is where it starts getting a little bit difficult. So over a couple of days, over months, you still want it to be able to pull out the same information. And this is long term memory for your agent. And procedural, this is your skill. So this is how you want an output. And this is how that works. And the last part, or the
Um,
fourth part, is tools. Sorry.
If I can interrupt, on the memory side, have you found anything that's good at managing the memory context, like to reduce your token spend? Kind of what's the most optimal thing these days that you're seeing?
Honestly, for token spend, I've hit my limit. Like I'm at 98% or 99% on my Claude limit right now. So I've just started using, if you're talking specifically within an Openclaw setting or like an agent setting, it's usually just prioritizing which kinds of information goes to which model. So like difficult tasks, yes, you want Opus to handle it, but like lighter tasks, so just like a day-to-day update, a conversational things, light research, you can probably get away with Minimax or probably Kimi and a lot of other models
Mm.
doing it as well.
Hey, go cool. And
Yeah.
on Izzy's question, Izzy, like I think maybe the question was, how do you use less tokens based on the memory that you've already acquired? Is that kind of, again, just for me to keep up, like the memory that you've already acquired doing things, all the tasks it's learned from. How do you reduce future token spend based on things it already knows, like the internal knowledge that it has, versus like which model it's using? I think that's a different question, right? Like model
Yeah,
for
that's a
task
different question,
versus,
but that's a good one. Yeah, I agree. That's a good question. What do you think?
But
because
if
that's
you're
what I thought the
talking,
question was. And like, I'm curious
yeah,
about that because we keep hitting limits and, obviously if we can spend less money, it's always good.
yeah, I think this is more about how you manage the, so even within how you use tokens or how you have your agent do interactions, there's ways you can lower the spend. Instead of, let me show you how a website would look, where you can go to a random website. Oh, what's a good website? YouTube. So I think it's markdown.
Sorry if this is a
Okay,
tangent, by the way. Keep me
but
honest.
this is just another way to. So when your agent is going through the internet, it consumes a lot of tokens just because it has to open all these websites, going through different types of things. It's not just made for agents. So Cloudflare came out with Markdown.new, which is if you just hand this to your agent, what it basically does is any URL in the world, it can convert it into a that's why YouTube doesn't work. Okay. What's another? So it would just convert that entire website into this. And this would give your agent the exact same information as it would have if it were as a human, but it's all in a markdown file. So it has all the links. It's easy for it to go through and it saves a lot of tokens this way.
So just to confirm, like there's no loss of quality on information ingestion using that
Yeah.
versus just letting it. So then again, selfish thoughts, and then we'll stop talking about it. But maybe we need to tell our crewmate to always only consume everything as a markdown, so we use less tokens.
And
Unless there's a downside to it, I don't know about.
yeah, and there's something that new that came out as well. Firecrawl is coming out with their thing for Openclaw and Hermes as well. They're helping agents just scrape the web. So it's gotten really easy for them.
Oh, that's so
So
cool. I really liked Firecrawl for web scraping. I didn't know they did this.
yeah,
It's
I
good
found
stuff.
out yesterday. They have like a direct integration with Openclaw and Hermes now.
Okay,
So
but then you would
What
need
is
the
Firecrawl?
Firecrawl plus the tool that you just showed, right? To do a markdown file, or they're also doing the markdown.
no, Firecrawl will just give it to you as like a format good enough for an agent. I think it's all in JSON, or it gives you a markdown as well.
What
Hmm.
does Firecrawl normally do? Like, what's the website, and then how is this beneficial for agents? I don't.
Yeah, it just helps you web scrape. So you can give it a website and it'll give you the complete breakdown of everything that's inside that website and like
Try
information.
Lululemon, for example.
Yeah. Let me
Like,
just
for
go find the
example, they have an
website.
API, and I plugged it into my website so it can scrape every day, like, new news that came out on, I forget what it was, but Bloomberg for finance. So every
Okay.
day it's on a schedule through Firecrawl to actually scrape the content and give me like a snippet of the news. It just helps you
Wow.
scrape websites, like the information on a website.
Wow.
Okay.
And
It's not interactable.
will you be able to get those as like briefs?
Well, I guess now you can.
Yeah, with your agent. So this is kind of how that works. For AI agents, they have a direct onboarding. You just copy this and send it to your agent.
That's cool.
So markdown and Firecrawl, duly noted. Good stuff.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
But yeah, mostly with short-term memory, it's all about figuring out what works for your workflow. And there's ways to get around token usage based on what there's probably something you're doing that's consuming a lot of tokens. So just have to figure out what it is and ways to reduce it. There's a bunch of tools out there now that help with that too. So yeah, the other side of this is
Awesome.
tools. Yeah, which is, I guess, the communication where the files are. It could write code, being able to write code, delegating to different agents, scheduling, research, anything it needs. These are the tools that it uses. And that's part of the harness. And then the hardware. This is the final side, which is like you want it to run on the cloud? Do you want it to run on a Mac Mini, or do you want it to run on VPS? The one thing is, what like it's when you run it on a cloud, there is some, you don't have the full autonomy that you would have when you have run it on a Mac Mini. And the Mac Mini is just where you're able to build more. There's a lot more freedom involved with how fast you can build things and what you can do. And right now, the world isn't there's a lot of code and a lot of things that are made and designed for local hardware that are just not easily portable to cloud.
Do you think that's gonna last a long time, or do you think that that's gonna go away soon?
It might go away soon. It just depends. Also, we're also seeing like Mac Minis just go sell out like pancakes. So there's that aspect of the world too. So it might just become a necessity where people just have to figure out how the cloud works, or enough people just go I mean, Apple's also starting to sell a lot of hardware too.
Very
How
interesting.
much space would you recommend for the Mac Mini? Because I think it's like 256, and then it goes up to terabytes and terabytes. Is
You can
there
run it on the base model. You don't need to go. I mean, unless you want to run a local model too. It depends on your use case too.
okay?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you don't even need a Mac Mini. Like local, I just put Mac Mini because that was the most common. But you can. I think in China they were selling. It was an old Chromebook that they refurbished and changed, and they were selling hundreds of these small versions of Openclaw on these small hardware for $100. So there's different things you can do, and there's also Pamir if you're interested in like hardware.
Like it feels like you have more autonomy with the hardware. Like, and it feels for me, I don't know if like from a computer perspective, is it more secure? I have a sense that it's more secure when you have it on the Mac Mini.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more secure and more freedom, and it's easier for you to do a lot more things with it.
I guess
This is
it's
the
just a
other
matter
thing.
of, do you want to pay a monthly fee, or do you want to incur the expense up front?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you want to maintain it. That's the other aspect of it as well.
What do you mean by maintain?
Like you still have to maintain the Mac Mini every 20 or 30 days. There's a bunch of things you just have to do anyway. You're just gonna have to do when you get your Mac Mini, but in person.
Hmm.
And this is the other hardware part of it, which was Pamir, where this is basically like an Arduino kit, but you can put a Claudebot in it. So
What? Okay, explain. This is
Yeah,
getting out
this
of
is
my realm
crazy.
a little bit. So what is it?
yeah, it's like an Arduino kit. So you can connect it to different hardware things in the world, like plug it into different, you can plug it into a sensor, you can plug it into a computer, and have your agent interact with that directly.
Okay.
And your agent just lives in the hardware form of a little, this thing.
That's cool.
Looks like a
This would be
Raspberry
good
Pi,
for,
basically, right?
Yeah.
yeah. I was wondering, like, this would be good for almost a manufacturing use case where you can plug it into any of the Amazon, what do you call it, factories. They have all these robots, and you just plug it in, and they're connected to your Openclaw framework or something.
Yeah, I'm
That's
assuming that
basic.
the humanoid robots have one of these inside of them, like
Exactly.
right now, like the ones that walk around. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
Just
pro
no
hardware.
version
Well,
of
maybe
that.
maybe what's gonna happen is people start 3D printing their own hardware. Maybe that becomes like, maybe it becomes easier to like own a 3D printer and just buy scrap metal and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It is cheap to buy a 3D printer. Like they don't cost that much,
Then
I
we're
guess
going
if
into the
it,
world of Iron Man too.
relatively.
And then the harness landscape. So I guess first I wanted to go over what a harness was, which is just a harness just wraps the model and makes it usable into an agent. So without the harness, the model would just be like a Copilot or ChatGPT as a chatbot. So you have your memory, you have your tools, you have your context, you have everything around it that just makes it an agent. And there's different types of harnesses. So there's Openclaw, there's Hermes, Claude Code, Codex, and OpenCode right now. There's a lot more, but these are the ones I would say that are worth knowing. And there's kind of two versions of this. Openclaw and Hermes are more autonomous personal or business agents. Claude Code, Codex, and OpenCode are more coding, but they can be used as these other versions of agents as well, because coding agents are just, they're still logic. It can be used vice versa. That's just how that works.
And Gokul, I know that you, paperclip is something that you guys are working on, and just in terms of augmenting all of these harnesses together, that's possible, or it's going to become possible.
I wouldn't say it's augmenting harnesses together. It's more like you're getting different agents to work together on paperclip.
Okay.
So it's like you have An Openclaw. I'm right now. My Hermes agent is working with a Claude Code agent and an Open Code agent. We're trying to set up. We're actually trying to set up Paperclip for the three of them to work on something.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing right now. But I mean, when I get my credits back, but yeah, that's kind of what they're doing. Yeah,
I have
Paperclip
a
is more so
question
like
on
an
that.
orchestration platform. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all getting orchestrated there, but the trigger point, is it all the same for all the agents? Or where's your trigger
What do you mean
coming
by the
from?
trigger point?
Like if you say do XYZ, but it needs 3 agents that are hosted on Paperclip to take action, how are you prompting them to start working? Is it all from one place?
So you would only prompt the one agent, and then the one agent would tell whatever it would delegate that, break it down, and delegate it to the other three.
Okay. Okay. And you're prompting that agent through like Discord or wherever, it doesn't matter.
Discord, WhatsApp, wherever your normal channel is. But the other
Got it.
3 agents can be like other people's agents. That's the key thing now. So it could be like my agent talking to your agent to get information.
Okay. Is that through an API? How do you connect to other people's?
Yeah, it's on. You can host it on a website. It's just all agents connect to it, and it is connected through an API, I think, or you can build it through an API. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
But then in terms of security, like let's say your agent can talk to my agent. Can now your agent take my well, it's gonna be taking my information in essence, right? How do you
Yeah.
then what because I've been thinking about security a lot when it comes to these agents, right? So now how can you protect yourself from that agent taking too much information without your knowing because it's autonomous?
Yeah. So one of the things is you're doing this within an organization. So it's like there's one that like level of trust of this is within the same hood, but like the other side of that is what the kind of information, how you separate it is what is the agent actually asking? Is it asking for customer info? Like what am I actually asking out of your agent? Does your agent just have all the customer information, or is it asking for a specific type of information that you only have? And then it asks, it's like there's like a request trail, and then there's an audit trail as well of what was the actual request, what was given, and then you can actually audit the full structure of what happened
Hmm.
when
That's
communication
an
like that
after the
happens.
fact though. That's an after the
Yeah.
fact though, right? Go cool. I guess is what I'm hearing from you, because David, I really like your question. Is what I'm hearing from you that you need to specifically define information types that are restricted to internal versus other levels, and make sure that it's like very well defined so that if it's ever called outside of authority level, it's not provided. And then
Exactly.
like if that's the case, are there creative ways that folks can like word their prompt or otherwise circumvent that? If we're using a keyword based situation and they find like a clever way of getting it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just thinking out
That
loud.
is that is a security issue. The best way around that is internal and external. Like the whole you is the level of trust that you have within an organization, and outside of an organization, you do have less trust. So that aspect you have to consider when you're like the internal and external. But yeah, within an organization, that is like you have to figure out how to solve for secrets. Because my agent, when I gave it all my information, it was able to separate it, but it created a separate file just called sensitive stuff and just dumped everything in there.
Got it. But just to be clear, I wasn't asking about like internal. I was asking about external. Even if you define the critical fields or like keywords that, if called, are denied because it's like the wrong access level. With prompting and creative, ways of asking agents to do things, I wonder if there are ways that people can just circumvent that. Or do you think that like once you lock the column or field or whatever it is down, it's blocked and that's it? That'll definitely work.
You can sandbox it. You can just say this version of this agent can only access this information.
Okay, got it.
So when it's external, this
It's
version just like
inherently it's inherently just not there to access, period.
exactly. It would
Got it.
just not
Okay,
know.
that's
Yeah.
helpful. Awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, Openclaw is more community built. It's the fastest growing one. There's just a large plugin system. It's available with a lot of different things. It's fairly easy setup right now, but there are a couple of limitations. There's a file-based memory, there's no learning loop, and skills don't improve, and there's some security vulnerabilities. Hermes is the one that I've been testing and I like a lot more. It's built by New Research. It's a research firm, and it kind of shows in how they behave and how their models or how their agent is created. They have auto skill generation and they have real cross-session memory. So it's like it automatically searches within previous historical memory. So memory is actually very good with Hermes. It's model agnostic. A lot of the issues that people are saying with Openclaw is you can only run it with a few different models or else it kind of goes bust. With Hermes, it's actually not that way. It works across a wide range of models. And the researchers of Hermes are saying it's because it's all about you have to fine tune it for each model or make sure it's good for each model. And previously, this company they were fine tuning llama models for Grok. And that was their business before they even touched this. So this is kind of directly in their wheelhouse and what their specialty is. So yeah. And they also have a direct Openclaw migration and also native Firecrawl as well. Like basically, this is my assessment. But yeah, one was community based, another one's more research based. So one is more flexible and one bigger range, but the other one is more like the breadth is much shorter, but it's more specialized and good for what it actually does. And then, so yeah, what's actually happening in AI right now? I think the coolest thing right now is generative UI. I think I was showing Izzy about this, which is now you can have blank UIs. I think it's called Tambo. Basically, you can have agents to create UI on the spot, or you can give it a bunch of components and have agents create UI on the spot for whatever your needs are. So now this unlocks like a whole different stream of products.
I don't understand. Like, can you?
Sorry?
I'm trying to understand this, like the user interface. So it can just create the user interface.
Yeah, dynamically based on whatever the product needs or user needs at the moment.
And
So
how
if
does
I
this
tell it
unlock it? Yeah, go ahead.
with an actual blank screen, right? Or like a product can actually, you can actually have a super app in a sense of the iPhone can just start with a blank screen and you can an agent in the future and you can just talk to your agent and just say, hey, I want to go home. It opens the Uber app and pulls up whatever. Or you say, oh, what's the weather today? Or you just ask it, right? And then it pulls up the weather instead. Like it unlocks that aspect of you don't need a lot of these different apps anymore.
I'm
But
not sure
that's
if
the
it's
cool
that
thing.
or if it's like a lovable kind of thing.
Is that what that is?
Oh, build
Like
agents.
Lovable, I haven't really used Lovable, but I know it can build websites. Can it do a lot more than just build a website? Is he
Yeah.
Lovable?
I mean, I've built like full softwares off Lovable. You can connect APIs. It has like a backend functionality, so you can connect it to Supabase. It just like literally makes it for you. It's amazing. And you can push it all to GitHub and get a engineer to fix some stuff if needed. But yeah, I don't know what Tambo does. I thought it was like a prompt and it just creates the UI components like Google Stitch or something.
No, it's more like, I guess I can show you the demo too. The demo on their GitHub, if you can see my screen.
Nice, yeah. It's like an orchestrator. It's sitting across your
Yeah,
browser, I guess. Okay.
exactly. And it dynamically just changes that UI.
This is very useful.
Yeah, it just does generative forms and
Form generation is very interesting.
all on the
Wow.
spot. So that's the cool
This would
thing
be
about
so
that.
good for a legal use case, like just creating these legal forms.
Just generating like, oh, based on whatever the document is created, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like DocuSign.
Yeah. This could totally replace DocuSign. Okay, this is very interesting. This opens up a lot of actually ideas.
The other one was core.so. It's a new version of Slack, Notion, and Linear put together, and it's open source. So there's that. I've been using it. I mean, we're trying to switch to it. This is kind of what it looks like. You have your whatever this version looks like Slack, so the chat, and then you have your chat. You have another chat as well that you can use to talk to AI, and then the linear Kanban board, and then you have your Notion type of thing, and then inbox
Wow.
and calendar. So it
You don't
looks
have channels,
so.
right? Like
Sorry,
organization channels. You don't have like channels where you can be like marketing, sales, and all this stuff.
but you can. That's what this is.
Yeah, this is better than Slack in the terms of having like an ability to chat and create tasks and all this stuff.
Yeah, and it's also going to be integrated with Openclaw and a bunch of these other things soon. So there's
Wow.
that.
This was free?
Nice.
You just downloaded it?
Yeah, and it's going to be fully open source. I mean, it is fully open source, but yeah, it's free right now. And starting next week, it's going to be fully open source or fully available for anyone to host.
But did you have to run this to be able to open it? Or
No, but this is like their beta version. So like they officially connect their version on the website to their open source version next week.
nice. It's cool. What was the name of that one again? Core, okay.
A core.
Nice.
And then the other two was Firecall that I just told you guys about. Yeah, but the last one was Exa, which is like a live monitoring dashboard for your agent where like you can put certain keywords and it just gets information. So like now you can add that and say, hey, if this random information, I think you can say what's depending on, I think Ben was asking about marketing today. So you can say based on whatever's trending or whatever's trending from your Exa search, that dashboard, you can have your agent generate content or create a workflow based on that now. So this can be like finance. You can make it trade. You can make it content. You can do what wide range of things now. Yeah. And the last one was, I think we were exploring with Denchclaw and turning it into a useful CRM. So I had my agent, this is kind of what burnt all my tokens. Funny enough, I had my agent turn Denchclaw, which is an open source CRM built on top of Openclaw. And I had my agent fork it and transform it into the useful CRM, which was basically the same thing, but I took Hermes and put it on top and kind of changed the architecture and with the same foundation just for Hermes. And yeah, that kind of killed my agent though, or my tokens. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that would work. And I want to turn this into like a CRO type of agent where now you have live inboxes. I mean, you're able to do live searches and web crawls through Firecrawl and all this, get all the information, upload it into your internal CRM, and now you can enrich it. You can do sequencing. You can do all of that through that. So that's the plan. We'll see if that works.
Interesting. So
I
useful
wonder, Gokul,
the app that you
Sorry?
created, or useful CRM, it's what you're creating, or it's an existing.
I'll show you what this is. Denchclaw. This is the CRM, what it kind of looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty basic, but yeah.
What makes it better than the existing CRMs?
This is just a CRM with Openclaw connected. So you have all your information, but now you can ask basically this, enrich all the founders and show me a pipeline breakdown. Now it enriched all your founders with their LinkedIn profiles.
It's like a better Clay. I don't know if you know of that app. Yeah.
It's like Clay actually, it is a better Clay because it's forever living. Yeah. And you can do, you can send outreach, automate a lot of these things.
Wow, very cool.
hey, Gokul, on the tokens getting burnt, like since you taught me a thing today, I'm just curious, like trying to do a learning example here, but could you have applied the markdown, use case and saved a whole bunch of tokens if you doing what you were doing there with Hermes? Like if it was pulling things using only markdown as opposed to crawling the web? Is that like a valid? Did I learn that correctly?
Yeah, you would save tokens.
So then, like, are you doing that? Are you using the markdown for your
I
own?
am, but most of my use cases are not really researched through the website. Like when it is using web research, it uses the markdown.new method, but that's
Well, let's
not the
talk about
primary use
this.
case. Yeah.
So like what things do so like if you're not burning tokens on web search, like what are you burning tokens on? Like what are the
Actually,
different components?
yeah, there would be coding. Most of it's actually just coding and indexing, figuring things out. Like research within its own documents is most of what my use is. So I have it.
Oh, sorry. No,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
So Hermes naturally creates knowledge graphs based on its context. So that's the advantage over Openclaw. Openclaw, it's based on all the documents you write out. Hermes is based on knowledge graphs and it naturally builds them based on history of conversations. And now I want to research within that history and that costs like tokens. So like, hey, based on the last 2 weeks of conversation, what is I'm kind of projecting out to say, what do I need to do here? And that kind of burns tokens.
Is there a way to for the agent to ingest that history in a more token friendly way, similar to how Markdown does it for websites?
There might be, but
the reason I'm asking these questions, as you guys think about that, it's not. I mean, I'm curious, but I'm also a little bit selfish here. I'm thinking about Ben and I and like the things we do. I think a lot of it is web search, so we can use Markdown. But I'm thinking about all the other actions our agents take or may take in the future, like building certain things that are based on internal knowledge. And so, like, if there's a way, if we break down the different token consumption factors, so there's web search, there's internal, there's taking action. Like, is there something out there that makes each one of those more token friendly? That's kind of the question, and like the research point. Because if we can find that out, obviously we stretch this a lot. As long as there's no loss in quality or fidelity or security or whatever.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of different tools to make each different. There's you can always have efficiency boosts in each little side. So I think, yeah, there are a lot and we can figure this out as we go along.
Yeah, because think about also if we're gonna not if as we market, crewmate to people, and they're going to do work, like their token spend, their variable cost is going to be a consideration in your pricing. But if you can pitch the case that, hey, like you're still going to burn X $100 doing the same stuff directly through Anthropic, but getting way worse results, no dynamic memory, blah, blah, blah. And we've built something that kills token spend. So yeah, you spend up front, you get way more capability, and we also make the searches more efficient. That would be a good hook for us to help you with.
Yeah. And I think adding on to that, I think me and Kaushik just saw that Hermes has this new feature that came out where if we can actually duplicate Hermes now. So if we create a good version, or not a good version, a version that suits a different particular purpose. So if we get one perfectly, Hermes we can package it and actually repackage it and put it into different places now, which is something you can't do with Openclaw or any other agent. So
interesting. Yeah, I want to learn more about that as you learn more about that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of commercial use for that.
Awesome. Thanks for humoring my my interest there. But yeah, I think that it could really be a differentiator if you find ways to like make every single piece of it more efficient, and then you could pitch your product, and it's not just capability, it's also like search efficiency. And a lot of these folks are going to be super users, and they're going to pull like lots and lots through this. So it'll start to make money for them in the long run too, just off of efficiency, not even considering capability.
Yeah, it's starting to become a moat now in a lot of these AI kind of companies of
like efficiency, like
yeah,
token efficiency.
Exactly. So if you can create agents that always scan your created agents and auto optimize, like change models where it can be more efficient.
I think IP in the agent world is just going to be harder and harder, at least in software.
Well, I feel like I learned a good amount, especially like the thing that piques my interest the most is like, so like you point out tools I've never heard of and like what they do. And then that sparks these questions and ideas where I'm like, well, can we do that here? Just because like I don't like I'm over here like I only know what I know, and I literally only know what you're showing us. So because you're way ahead of like all the research and stuff that I see. So keep the I think like what would be nice if there's like a running list of tools that we've discussed and what they do and their use case that we could have for the group, and then like we can always reference it like a glossary of tools that we talked about.
Yeah, I can set that up, or I can make one actually. Useful tools.
Appreciate that. Yeah, because sometimes like I know we researched all of these, but then maybe like we want to revisit one that we didn't want to use at one point and whatever. It's just there because this is really good learning, and like
yeah, like
I didn't even know
sometimes you
do
might not need
markdown.
it. Yeah, you might not need it for another 3 months, maybe. Like you never know, right?
Exactly.
Or something
Good
might not
stuff,
even
man.
be mature enough for you until 3 months.
Well, I really appreciate you making me smarter. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Mike.
God knows I can use it.
Yeah, that's all I had. You guys want to say hi to my dog?
I see something cute in the corner.
Very cute.
Definitely more than me.
Yeah. You're like
Yeah,
creating Frankenstein.
playing God.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess you need different humans. You need different types of humans to build the optimal agent.
Yeah, like me, like I'm definitely less technical than all of you, but I'm also like I've used so many different things and done so many different jobs that like I don't know, I just started thinking about stuff that I've bashed my head against, like why can't I just do this easier or whatever. And then there's also like I mean I'll speak for both Ben and I, like M&A is so broad. It's so many different jobs in one. You're a marketer, you're a lawyer, you're a financial person, you're negotiating. It's all these different things. And so I'm thinking about so many different use cases, like biz dev through law through execution. And so like it's hopefully like I mean I'm obviously getting a lot more, but hopefully like it's not too annoying when I start poking in these directions, because I think I'm just trying to think of like use cases selfishly for us, but then also improvements to the offering for you guys as we start. We're already slowly marketing it. We're not really full scale marketing it yet, but we'll get there. So anyway, that's kind of I
Yeah,
agree.
and I love I love like the random directions to it. Just like shows more different use cases and ways. Like that's kind of the whole point. Like I have a different use case, you have a different use case. Like everyone has their own idea of how they can use it, and then you might give me inspiration, I might give you inspiration, and then wow, get something. And we get Frankenstein, which is
Beats Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I didn't go that deep into the book.
Let's just say it's an easier read. Well, look, I appreciate it. I'm gonna pop off and take a little break before my next one, but I feel a little smarter already. So thanks as always, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks everyone here too for all the interesting ideas and stuff.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Later.
Mike.
Bye.
Bye.
See you,
Bye.
Gogo.